Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Everyday English. I'm Jessica, and today we're talking about something that affects millions of people around the world.
Hey there, I'm Jack, and yes, today's topic is anxiety and how to talk about it in English.
This is such an important topic because anxiety is so common, yet many English learners struggle to find the right words to express what they're experiencing.
Exactly. Whether you're feeling nervous about a specific event, dealing with ongoing worry, or experiencing actual anxiety disorders, you need the vocabulary to communicate how you feel.
Right, and it's not just about expressing your own feelings. You also need to understand when others talk about their anxiety and know how to respond with empathy and support.
So today, we're going to teach you the full range of vocabulary for discussing anxiety, from mild nervousness to panic attacks, from everyday worries to clinical anxiety.
We'll cover phrases for describing anxious feelings, physical symptoms of anxiety, causes and triggers, coping strategies, and how to talk about getting help.
And as always, we'll practice with real conversations so you can hear these phrases in context and learn when and how to use them naturally.
By the end of this episode, you'll be equipped to talk about anxiety in English with confidence, whether you're discussing your own experiences or supporting someone else.
Before we start, I want to say if you're dealing with anxiety, you're not alone. It's incredibly common, and talking about it is the first step toward managing it.
Absolutely. So let's learn how to put these feelings into words.
All right, Jessica, let's start with the basics. What's the simplest way to tell someone you're feeling anxious?
The most straightforward way is, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm anxious.
Teaching note. Anxious describes a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about something uncertain. It's the basic adjective form. You can say, I'm anxious, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm anxious about something. More formal than worried, but appropriate in all contexts.
Right, and you can specify what you're anxious about. I'm anxious about the interview, or I'm feeling anxious about traveling.
You can also add intensity words. I'm really anxious. I'm so anxious. I'm extremely anxious.
Now, a very common word that's similar is nervous. What's the difference between anxious and nervous?
That's a great question. They're very similar, but nervous usually refers to feeling anxious about a specific upcoming event, while anxious can be more general or ongoing.
So you'd say, I'm nervous about my presentation tomorrow because it's a specific event.
Right, but you might say, I've been feeling anxious lately to describe a general state, not tied to one specific thing.
Though, honestly, many native speakers use them interchangeably in casual conversation.
That's true. Now let's talk about worry. You can say, I'm worried, or I worry about.
I'm worried about my exam results, or I'm worried that I won't finish on time.
You can also use worry as a noun. My biggest worry is losing my job, or money is a constant worry for me.
Another really common phrase is, I'm stressed. How does that relate to anxiety?
Stress and anxiety are closely related but slightly different. Stress usually comes from external pressure, deadlines, responsibilities, demands. Anxiety is more about internal worry and fear.
So, stress is about what's happening to you, and anxiety is about how you're responding internally.
Exactly. Though in everyday conversation, people often use them together. I'm stressed and anxious about this situation.
Now, let's talk about more intense feelings. What if anxiety is really severe?
You might say, I'm having a panic attack, or I'm panicking.
Teaching note. Panic attack is a medical term describing sudden, intense anxiety with physical symptoms like racing heart, difficulty breathing, and overwhelming fear. This is a medical term, so it's important to use it accurately. You might say, I had a panic attack this morning, or I think I'm having a panic attack.
Panicking is less clinical. It can just mean you're very anxious and flustered. I'm panicking about this deadline.
Another intense phrase is, I'm freaking out. This is very casual and common, especially among younger people.
Freaking out is super casual. I'm freaking out about this presentation, or don't freak out, but I have some bad news.
It's less serious than panic attack, but still shows intense anxiety or worry.
Now let's talk about describing the physical sensations of anxiety. This is really important because anxiety isn't just mental, it affects your body too.
Absolutely. You might say, my heart is racing, or my heart is pounding.
Teaching note. These describe that fast, strong heartbeat you get when you're anxious. Racing suggests speed. Pounding emphasizes the strong, forceful beats you can feel. Both very common when describing anxiety symptoms.
These describe that fast, strong heartbeat you get when you're anxious. When I get anxious, my heart starts racing. You might also say, I have butterflies in my stomach, which describes that fluttery, nervous feeling in your belly.
Teaching note. Butterflies in my stomach describes the fluttery, unsettled feeling in your stomach when you're nervous or excited. Very common idiom, often used for mild to moderate nervousness rather than severe anxiety. Can be used for both anxious and excited feelings.
That's such a nice image. I get butterflies in my stomach before public speaking. Another physical symptom is I feel nauseous or I feel sick to my stomach.
Anxiety makes me feel nauseous, or when I'm really anxious, I feel sick to my stomach.
You might also say my hands are shaking or I'm trembling.
I get so anxious that my hands start shaking, or I was trembling before the interview.
Another common physical symptom is difficulty breathing. You might say, I can't breathe, or I feel like I can't catch my breath.
When my anxiety spikes, I feel like I can't breathe properly.
You could also say, my chest feels tight, which is that constricted feeling in your chest during anxiety.
Now let's talk about the mental and emotional aspects. You might say, my mind is racing.
This means your thoughts are going very fast, jumping from worry to worry. I can't sleep because my mind is racing.
You might also say, I'm overthinking everything, which we covered in a previous episode.
Right. Overthinking and anxiety go hand in hand. I'm overthinking this conversation, or I overthink everything.
Another phrase is, I can't stop worrying, or I worry constantly.
I can't stop worrying about what people think of me, or I worry constantly about my health.
You might also say, I'm on edge, which means you're tense, jumpy, and easily startled or upset. Teaching note. On edge means nervous, tense, and easily disturbed or upset, like standing on the edge of something, ready to fall. Shows a state of heightened anxiety where you're hyper-alert and reactive. Very common phrase.
I've been on edge all week waiting for the test results.
Or, this situation has me on edge.
Another phrase is, I feel uneasy, which means uncomfortable and slightly anxious, but not necessarily intense.
I feel uneasy about this decision, or something about this situation makes me feel uneasy.
Now, let's talk about specific types of anxiety. You might have social anxiety, which is anxiety about social situations.
Right. I have social anxiety, or I get social anxiety at parties.
This means you feel very anxious in social situations. Maybe you worry about being judged or saying the wrong thing.
There's also test anxiety or performance anxiety, anxiety specifically about tests or performing in front of others.
I have terrible test anxiety, or I struggle with performance anxiety when I have to present.
Some people experience health anxiety, excessive worry about having or developing serious illnesses.
I have health anxiety, so every little symptom makes me worry, or my health anxiety has gotten worse lately. Now let's talk about what triggers or causes anxiety. You might say, something triggers my anxiety, or this is a trigger for me.
A trigger is something that sets off your anxiety. Crowded spaces trigger my anxiety, or that topic is a trigger for me.
You can also say, this makes me anxious, or this brings on my anxiety.
Flying makes me anxious, or conflict brings on my anxiety.
Now let's discuss how to talk about managing or coping with anxiety. You might say, I'm trying to manage my anxiety, or I'm working on my anxiety.
These show you're actively addressing the issue. I'm trying to manage my anxiety through meditation.
You might also say, I'm learning to cope with my anxiety, or I'm developing coping strategies.
Coping with anxiety means finding ways to handle it. I'm learning healthy ways to cope with my anxiety.
A very important phrase is, I'm seeking help, or I'm getting help for my anxiety.
This shows you're taking action, maybe seeing a therapist or doctor. I finally decided to seek help for my anxiety.
You might say, I'm seeing a therapist, or I'm in therapy for anxiety.
Or, I talked to my doctor about my anxiety, or I'm on medication for anxiety.
These phrases normalize getting professional help, which is so important.
Absolutely, there's no shame in seeking help. You might also talk about techniques like, I practice deep breathing, or I do meditation to calm my anxiety.
Or exercise helps my anxiety, or therapy has really helped me manage my anxiety.
Now, let's talk about how to ask others about their anxiety with sensitivity and care.
Yes, you want to show concern without being intrusive. You might ask, are you feeling anxious about something?
Or, you seem anxious. Is everything okay?
A gentle approach is, I noticed you seem a bit worried. Do you want to talk about it?
Or, how are you feeling about this situation? Which gives them space to share or not.
If someone has told you they struggle with anxiety, you might check in. How's your anxiety been lately? Or, is your anxiety acting up? Which means, is it bothering you right now?
Now let's talk about how to respond when someone tells you they're anxious. First, validate their feelings.
Right. You might say, that sounds really anxiety-provoking, or I can understand why you'd feel anxious.
It makes total sense that you're feeling anxious about this, or that would make anyone anxious.
Avoid saying things like, just relax, or don't worry about it. These dismiss their feelings.
Instead, you might offer support. I'm here for you, or how can I help?
Or, do you want to talk about it? Or, is there anything I can do to support you?
You might also share your own experience if appropriate. I get anxious about that too, or I understand, I felt that way.
This shows empathy and helps them feel less alone.
Now let's practice with a real conversation. This time, I'll be someone experiencing anxiety, and you're a supportive friend.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, I'm so anxious right now. I have that big presentation tomorrow, and I can't stop thinking about it.
I can tell you're really stressed about this. What specifically is making you anxious?
Everything. What if I forget what to say? What if people think my ideas are stupid? My heart starts racing just thinking about it.
Those are really common worries, and I can understand why you're feeling anxious. But you know what? You've prepared really well for this.
I know, but I just keep overthinking every possible thing that could go wrong. My mind is racing, and I couldn't even sleep last night.
Anxiety can really mess with your sleep. Have you tried any of those breathing exercises we talked about? They might help calm your racing thoughts.
I tried a little bit, but I'm just so worked up. I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack if I get up there.
Okay, let's take this one step at a time. First, you're not alone in feeling this way. Presentation anxiety is super common. Second, what's helped you in the past when you felt like this?
Usually, going for a walk helps clear my head a bit, and talking to someone about it, like right now, actually does help.
Good. So let's plan. Maybe go for a walk this evening to help you unwind. And remember, even if you're nervous during the presentation, that's totally normal. You're going to do great.
Thanks, I really needed to hear that. Just talking about it makes me feel a bit less anxious.
Anytime. I'm here if you need to talk more, okay? You've got this.
See how that conversation flowed? We used so many anxiety-related phrases naturally.
Right. Anxious, stressed, heart racing, overthinking, mind is racing, worked up, panic attack, presentation anxiety, clear my head, unwind, nervous, all in one conversation.
And notice how the supportive friend validated feelings, asked questions, suggested coping strategies, and offered ongoing support.
That's exactly how you should respond when someone shares their anxiety with you.
Now let's do another practice conversation. This time, I'll be someone with more chronic anxiety talking to a therapist. That's you.
Okay.
Thanks for seeing me. I've been dealing with anxiety for a while now, and I think I need help.
I'm glad you reached out. That takes courage. Can you tell me more about what you've been experiencing?
Well, I worry constantly about everything. Work, relationships, health, money. My mind never stops. I'm always on edge.
That sounds exhausting. How long have you been feeling this way?
Probably years, but it's gotten much worse in the past 6 months. I'm losing sleep, I feel nauseous a lot, and sometimes my chest feels tight, and I can't breathe properly.
Those physical symptoms are very common with anxiety. Have you experienced any panic attacks?
Yes, a few times. It's terrifying. My heart pounds, I feel dizzy, and I feel like something terrible is about to happen.
Panic attacks can be really frightening. What have you tried so far to manage your anxiety?
I've tried meditation apps and breathing exercises. They help a little, but I still feel anxious most of the time.
It sounds like you're dealing with generalized anxiety, and the good news is there are effective treatments. Would you be open to exploring therapy approaches and possibly medication?
Yes, I'm open to anything. I just want to feel better. This anxiety is taking over my life.
I hear you, and I want you to know that what you're experiencing is very treatable. We're going to work together to develop coping strategies and find what works best for you.
That was a more formal, clinical conversation, but it demonstrates important vocabulary.
Right. Terms like chronic anxiety, generalized anxiety, panic attacks, physical symptoms, treatments, coping strategies, therapy approaches, these are all important when discussing anxiety professionally.
Now let's talk about some phrases for when anxiety is improving or you're having a good day.
Yes, you might say, my anxiety has been better lately, or I'm feeling less anxious.
Or, I've been managing my anxiety well. Or, I'm learning to control my anxiety.
You could say, today is a low anxiety day, or my anxiety isn't as bad today.
Or, celebrate progress. I did something that usually triggers my anxiety, and I handled it.
These phrases acknowledge improvement while recognizing that anxiety is ongoing.
Now let's discuss some important distinctions. What's the difference between feeling anxious and having anxiety?
Great question. Feeling anxious is temporary. Everyone feels anxious sometimes about specific things.
Right. I'm feeling anxious about this interview is a temporary state.
But having anxiety, or I have anxiety, often refers to an anxiety disorder, a chronic condition.
So someone might say, I have anxiety, to describe their ongoing struggle with an anxiety disorder.
So, I'm feeling anxious is situational and temporary. I have anxiety suggests it's a more persistent issue.
Though in casual conversation, people sometimes use these interchangeably.
True, context matters, but it's good to understand the difference.
Another important phrase is anxiety disorder. This is the clinical term for diagnosed conditions.
Right. There are different types: generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and others. If someone says, I have generalized anxiety disorder, or I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder, they're talking about a medical condition.
This is different from everyday anxiety or nervousness. It's a diagnosable mental health condition.
Now, your homework. This week, if you feel anxious about something, try to identify and name the feeling in English.
You could write in a journal, today I felt anxious because, and use the vocabulary we taught you.
Or practice these phrases out loud. Describing your feelings helps you understand them better.
Also, be mindful of how anxiety appears in English media, TV shows, podcasts, books. Notice the vocabulary people use.
And remember, if you're struggling with anxiety, please reach out for support. Talking about it is important.
All right, let's recap everything we learned today.
We learned basic anxiety vocabulary: anxious, nervous, worried, stressed, panicking, freaking out.
We learned to describe physical symptoms: heart racing, butterflies in stomach, nauseous, hands shaking, can't breathe, chest feels tight.
We learned mental or emotional experiences: mind racing, overthinking, can't stop worrying, on edge, uneasy.
We learned about types of anxiety: social anxiety, test anxiety, performance anxiety, health anxiety, anxiety disorder.
We learned about triggers and causes: this triggers my anxiety, this makes me anxious, anxiety provoking.
We learned coping phrases: managing my anxiety, coping with anxiety, seeking help, seeing a therapist, developing strategies.
We learned how to ask about others' anxiety. Are you feeling anxious? How's your anxiety been? Is your anxiety acting up?
We learned supportive responses. That sounds anxiety-provoking. I understand why you'd feel anxious. I'm here for you. How can I help?
We learned phrases for improvement: my anxiety has been better, I'm managing well, I'm learning to control it.
And we learned the distinction between feeling anxious, a temporary state, and having anxiety, a chronic condition.
Remember, anxiety is incredibly common. You're not alone in experiencing it.
And having the vocabulary to express it is so powerful. It helps you communicate with others and seek the support you need.
Don't be afraid to talk about anxiety, whether your own or supporting someone else. These conversations matter.
All right, if you found this episode helpful, please let us know. Leave a comment and tell us what helps you when you're feeling anxious.
Or share which phrase from today resonated with you most.
Next time, we're covering English idioms about emotions, colorful expressions for feelings like down in the dumps, on cloud nine, and many more.
Until then, take care of your mental health, practice self-compassion, and remember, you're stronger than your anxiety.
Be kind to yourselves, everyone.
You've got this.
Bye.
See you next time.